In the heart of ancient Kyoto, where mist curled around ancient temples and cherry blossoms drifted like silent prayers, there lived a Zen master named Aiko. His wisdom was legendary. Monks and seekers journeyed for months to hear his teachings, but few grasped their depth. One spring morning, a young nobleman named Haru arrived at the monastery gates. His silk robes shimmered under the morning sun, and his eyes burned with restless ambition. He had spent years studying philosophy, martial arts, and the occult, yet one skill eluded him. "Master Aiko," Haru bowed, his voice edged with urgency, "teach me to read minds." The old monk, whose face was as lined as the bark of an ancient pine, smiled faintly. "Come," he said, "we shall begin at the Whispering Willow." At the edge of a tranquil pond stood a gnarled willow, its branches trailing into the water like ink strokes on silk. Aiko filled a porcelain cup to the brim and handed it to Haru. "Tell me what you see." Haru frowned. "A cup full of tea." Aiko nodded, then poured more tea. The liquid spilled over the rim, darkening the earth below. "Now, what do you see?" "It overflows," Haru exclaimed. "Just so," Aiko murmured. "Your mind is like this cup, filled with your own thoughts, desires, and judgments. How can you hope to understand another when your own vessel is too full?" Haru opened his mouth to argue, but the master raised a hand. "Before you seek to read minds, first learn to empty your own." For weeks, Haru sat beneath the willow, meditating. He let go of his assumptions, his pride, his endless need to know. Yet frustration gnawed at him. "Master," he said one evening, "I am empty. Now what?" Aiko only smiled. "Then we begin." One morning, Aiko unrolled a blank parchment on the temple floor. "Here lies the secret to mind reading," he said. Haru leaned closer, searching for hidden ink or symbols. "But there's nothing here." "Exactly." Aiko's eyes gleamed. "When you look at a person, do you see them, or do you see only what you expect?" Haru hesitated. "You came to me wanting to take knowledge," Aiko continued. "But true insight comes when you stop seeking and start seeing. The mind is not a locked chest to be broken into. It is an open field, if only you have the eyes to observe." That night, Haru sat awake, pondering. He realized that all his life, he had been interpreting people rather than truly witnessing them. Months passed. One evening, a grieving widow climbed the temple steps. Before she spoke, Aiko placed a warm bowl of broth in her hands. She clutched it, tears falling into the steam. "He's gone," she whispered. Aiko simply nodded. After she left, Haru was astonished. "Master, how did you know her sorrow?" "Her shoulders were slumped like branches heavy with snow," Aiko replied. Her hands trembled like leaves in the wind. "The mind speaks, not in words, but in breath, in silence, in the way a person carries their weight." Haru finally understood. "You didn't read her thoughts. You read her." The master smiled. "At last, you see." Years later, Haru, now a teacher himself, sat beneath the same willow. A young student approached, eyes bright with the same hunger Haru once had. "Master Haru," the student begged, "teach me to read minds." Haru handed him a mirror. "What do you see?" "Myself," the student replied, confused. Haru shook his head. "Look deeper." The student stared, then gasped. "The reflection of the moon." Haru nodded. "The mind is like this mirror. Most see only their own thoughts, but when you learn to see past yourself, the whole world reveals its truth." Aiko's teachings were never about magic or mysticism. They were about presence. To truly read another, one must empty the self, like the overflowing cup. Observe without expectation, like the blank scroll. Listen to the unspoken, like the silent widow. Reflect the truth, like the mirror and the moon. In the end, the greatest insight is not in knowing thoughts, but in seeing the soul behind them. And so, beneath the whispering willow, the legend lived on, not as a tale of magic, but as a lesson in true understanding.